to Different Gravy, not just another Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Richard Miller, and I want to start today's episode with an apology. Last week, we did everybody that listens to this podcast and everybody associated with Sheffield Wednesday disservice by not addressing / being unwilling to accept what our eyes were telling us, that Marvin Nicholas Johnson played at centre-back for Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough on the 23rd of October, 2021. Everything that I know about football has taught me that that wasn't what I was seeing. I dismissed it. I think I just couldn't believe what was happening in front of me. But obviously, interviews since and the following game have shown us that this was not just an anomaly that happened, actually a real life occurrence. I want to introduce my co-host, Luke Gledall, who I think was equally to blame. But Luke, do you want to join me in apologising?
Yeah, I'm dead sorry over that one.
Soz, mate. Because, yeah, we went through the lineup and I don't think either of us really pegged that Johnson was playing left-sided centre-back. I don't think we wanted to accept that it was happening. But Darren Moore, he agreed. He's also stood up for the decision and repeated that decision. So there we go. This is the world we're living in. Disappointing winger turned disappointing left back is now a disappointing left-sided centre-back. There we go. How are you doing today, Luke?
I'm doing okay. Yeah. Had to really consult that one. Yeah, I guess I'm okay.
I considered okay. I think that's fair enough. When have clocks gone back yet for you? That it's happening this weekend for folks?
It's happening next week. And also as a province, we actually had, I think, by a Nats chuff, missed out on keeping by changing it so that we wouldn't have to change clocks, because I think it's kind of stupid. I really hate the argument that people say, well, it'll be so much darker in the winter mornings. I'm like, is dark in winter full stop?
Yeah.
Like, just pick where you want the daylight. You know, I think it's better often later in the day. Oh, well, those kids who go to school. I'm like, it's fucking dark when they go to school a bit an hour later. Like, what if... So I was annoyed by it. I was annoyed by that.
Tablets anyway, aren't they, Luke?
Oh, no, kids these days. Just give him a wine gum and they'll be fine.
Give him a wine
money in the provincial coffers for a wine gum for every child. Here's your per diem wine gum, child.
You can have the biggest...
go to work on a wine gum.
Go to work. Oh my god! That great slogan written by Salman Rushdie.
Exactly. Have that, Midnight's children.
And it's due to the gelatin used in them that the fatwa was taken out on him. Actually, it really was quite a disgraceful thing to say in some parts of the world. You could also do a mass version of that experiment with children. You know, where they get like one marshmallow now, but if they wait, they get 2 marshmallows. So you could have for a child, they get 1 wine gum in the morning, or if they can wait till after school, they get 2. And you could wheedle out the high achievers very early doors.
You can stake that crypto wine gum for a percentage APY.
Oh dear. Right. Should we get on to a bit of news?
I guess we should. Yeah, let's do that.
Oh.
Breaking hoo-hoos.
I'll do that again.
Breaking hoo-hoos.
You just pre-hoo-hooed, didn't you, Rich?
I did. It just burst out of me. I couldn't hold back. All that wine gum talk, and I just hoo-hooed all over the place.
I'm glad we can enjoy ourselves, Rich. I don't know about the listeners or any other Sheffield Wednesday supporters, but right now in this moment, I'm having a bit of a giggle.
Me too. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Having a babble.
I mean, it's a really fun bit of news we're going to tackle first. So this is the reports on Darren Moore's actually gone into some quite hefty detail on his bout with COVID. Obviously, we know the sort of impact it had on his presence on the sidelines. But it seems to have been a pretty scary episode that he had with the vid.
Yeah, and it was a weird thing at the time, right? Because we thought it sounded like it was pretty bad, but then we didn't really kind of get any feedback from the club, which was probably understandable. The timing's interesting, don't you think?
Of the news story coming out.
Yeah. Like that is an interesting. I don't know where exactly it's come from or for what purpose it's come from. I'm glad he shared his story, and I'm really glad the man is fine, fit as a fiddle, and came out of this. Yeah. It's really scary to read.
Yeah,
but I'm a bit confused about terms of time and where that's come from. But
so there's a bit of a suspicion that it might be a kind of PR bit of timing.
Why does it feel incredibly crass for me to admit something like that? Like, it feels very poor taste for me to say something like that.
Yeah. I have to confess, I don't know with the Times whether this is something that they are doing, is speaking to people who've had brushes with COVID, and maybe he's one of a number of people that are in the public eye that are telling their story. But
well, there seemed to be in like an interview with Steve Cottrell, who had but that seemed earlier on this season.
Okay.
But it seemed like there seems an element, and I know that there needs to be a certain time to say the dust has settled. I'm now 100% healed, and now I'm open and probably okay to talk about this. So I think there's probably definitely an element to that, to the narrative around Darren Moore speaking about this.
Yeah. So interesting.
I don't know.
Timing's kind of interesting as well. But as you say, the main thing, it's good that he's
completely
to be fully back in the game now. But scary episode. When you hear things about like sort of blood clots on lungs and things like that, that's pretty dicey stuff, isn't it? Yeah. The article also, interestingly, talks about the fact that he wants to get Wednesday back to the Premier League, and that's what he's planning. So that's a bit, at this point in time, seems a very, very long way away. But nice that he's got that positive mental attitude, I suppose.
I guess if we have a period of sticking in for the next 30 years and give him numerous stays of execution, then maybe that could potentially happen.
Oh dear. Was it Dario Grade, the guy that was at Crew forever and a day, and
forever and yes,
kind of succeeded in turning them from a championship club into a League One, League Two yo-yo club over the course of 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I think he's a disgraced person, but I don't know. I'm not going to double check that. I'm just going to leave it there. He may or may not be disgraced, like so many of us. The other bit of news is that we've had out is that we are working on things looking ahead to the January transfer window, and with that, it's going to be free transfers and loans. We're still under whatever we call this level of embargo, soft touch embargo. Looking ahead to January, would you hazard what would be sort of top of your shopping list?
Definitely a Santa bag.
Yeah.
If not one, I'd have two, to be fair.
Would you go for like a sort of lanky 18-year-old that's maybe played 4 or 5 games of first-team football for Sheffield Wednesday and always looked all right?
Who would you be offering as such a said person?
Just thinking about Kieran Brennan, who seems to be a perfectly good defender that we apparently can't have at the club, despite the fact we desperately need bodies at the back. Well,
we're Sheffield Wednesday, so we kind of go for luxuries that we can ill afford, really.
Yeah.
Such as Barry Bannon. And so I think we'll probably bring in a centre-back who will probably disappoint the life out of me because he won't be very adept at doing the basics. But, oh, look, he can play a football. You know.
Some Man City youngster that we get maybe 2 games out of between January and the end of the season.
And ruin his career in the process.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, well, there you go. That's fun. And a left back, I guess, seeing as...
Yeah, and I also wonder if that situation, whether there's any basis to, to send Louis Gibbo back.
Louis Gibbo, the broken man.
Yeah, a man who's come to us and seemingly ruined his career as well.
Yeah, just fallen to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I don't know why I was flicking through my watch later videos on YouTube. I don't know if anybody else uses that facility.
I do.
And one of them was the highlights of Louis Gibbo's time at Reading. And it's just so strange to think that there was a period of time when we weren't playing him because he wasn't ready yet or whatever. And it's like, how come he wasn't ready to play for Sheffield Wednesday in League One when he played a good amount of games for Reading in the Championship last season?
Well, apparently he had a knock. I mean, that seems to be the narrative of what we're being told. But I know, but there seemed to be a lot of him like playing for the under-23s and then just not making the next step from there, you know? Yeah.
Anyway, strange stuff, but okay. So a couple of defenders look good on our shopping list at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
If there was the opportunity to bring in a kind of classic target man, I think I'd be tempted to do that sort of thing as well. Although I know Gregory does a job, it just doesn't feel like we're utilising his gifts to quite the extent we should be doing. It feels like we're making him play against type in an acting sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are we ready to talk about the big match live? The other Robins.
The other Robins, yeah.
Cheltenham Town.
Can we talk about like just the general nature of Wednesday being self-inflicted and doing it themselves and having another bad performance against a team who, even at a very poor standard and looking very bad, looked, a lot better than us for probably degrees of this match, but still kind of terrible. Can we talk about the fact that one of the most irritating things in a pithy sense, let me kind of look at this, Jonny-Rocks Stadium.
Yes.
So it's Johnny-Rocks. It's not Jonny-Rocks. It's not like my name was Jonny-Rocks.
Yeah.
It's like my dad was surnamed Johnny, and my mum was surnamed Rocks, and they were very progressive, so they gave me a double-barreled name from theirs. And actually, that was my parents, so it's really, really far ahead of the curve in terms of the current kind of rhetoric around naming children and going against the patriarchy of the mentality of this. So anyway, they founded like a big established business. What business did they establish? They kind of contract chauffeurs out. There's a business for that? So it irritates me. It irritates me seeing Johnny. Every time I see it, I just think of Johnny Rockets.
Yes.
It irritates me seeing Jonny. I know that's a spelling of Johnny, but it doesn't sit well with me.
No. Also,
while we're on this, another thing that irritates me, Rich, Johnny Hendricks, the MMA fighter, fucking hate the spelling of his first name. Is there also like a different world, or is there like actually a different language, a different culture that does Jhony?
I don't know really.
Okay, that might be something else, and I won't be racist and shit on their cultures because it's probably fine and within the standing. But anyway, Jonny-Rocks is terrible. I said Cheltenham are a weird little club. This all feels a bit Ted Lasso. It feels a bit. I'm trying to fictionally create a football team that sounds a bit wanky.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, by the way, sorry, just on that Johnny-Rocks front, I said Johnny-Rocks Stadium, due to a sponsorship from Johnny-Rocks chauffeurs, making it at once the classiest and chaviest sponsor in the league. Because when it's a limo, you're like, oh, it's a famous person. No, it's just some drunk 16-year-old girls.
Yeah, as I saw a stretch, as I thought about similar mentality, as I peered into the fluorescent light within a stretch Humvee limo last night. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I like you said chauffeurs. You say chauffeurs.
I don't know. I'm feeling self-conscious about it now. But I do know what you mean about it. Feels fake, doesn't it? It feels like a fake. And it's one of these silly little grounds where it's like 5 rows deep. There was a brilliant post on Al's talk, and I'm gonna quote chunks of it, but they were So it was Hey Small Town FC, come and have a wonderful. The poster is Nero to give them their due. Hey Small Town FC, come and have a wonderful day out at Hillsborough. Your happiness is our goal. Why not join the thousands of happy customers from Fleetwood, Shrewsbury, Oxford, Bolton, and Lincoln who have already experienced their season's cup final on the West Stand at Hillsborough? Highlights: guaranteed Darren Moore's wonderful plan. Darren puts together a bespoke tactical masterclass for each visit that ensures your journeymen pros are not embarrassed by the supposedly strong Wednesday squad. Bonus, this will include players you've heard of. He will willingly play players out of position and pick a formation which enhances your team's capabilities. Guaranteed 45 minutes on top, minimum. It doesn't matter how bad your season is. You can enjoy a whole half where your team bosses the game in front of around 24,000 fans. Guaranteed the scary 15 minutes in which Wednesday looked like a good side. No away day would be complete without a bit of jeopardy, and your day will be enhanced by a period where Wednesday players rise like zombies and rouse their fans. Don't worry, it doesn't last. Usually ended by a costly individual error. See below. Guaranteed 1 times costly individual error minimum. Players join in the fun by ensuring that your day is made even better due to key events such as a goalkeeping howler, or missing a penalty, or simply forgetting what to do at a corner. There's a little bit more, but I am so sick of being humbled by these crap little teams. They're crap. We shouldn't be humbled by Cheltenham. They can't believe they're playing us. Once again, I was treated to their commentary, and they spent the whole game going, this really shows that we do belong to be in this league, don't we? Because we've had a very good game against this very good Sheffield.
Oh, fucking hell.
Garbage.
But wasn't there a similar deal midweek with who's the Cheltenham manager again?
Johnny No Mark. I don't know.
Michael Duff.
Michael Duff.
Mm-hmm.
Who got a yellow card today.
Yeah, because he was interviewed midweek, and forgive me while I just...
Yeah, that's fine.
And what does he say? Came up, said, we're the biggest club, blah, 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 blah. What else does he say? He said some stuff.
Said some stuff.
I'm not finding it within this.
So his only job has been Cheltenham, really. He was Burnley under-23s coach for a year or so. But but
it's just all the lip service to say, they're in a false position and they're a good team. And then it's just like kind of protecting, or the PR are kind of protecting the kind of angle of coming in against playing Sheffield Wednesday. But then it just I think there's something else he said, which someone else commented on, something like Alstock saying, I don't think none of these opposing managers ever seem to talk about actually how things are for Sheffield Wednesday.
No.
And how we're looking. So it's just madness.
They're probably watching the games and going, we look very beatable, because we do look very beatable. You can't say that, but you also don't want to do
exactly.
Talk everybody up.
I know, but it's just the world of the PR is just... I know there's probably very much a difference world of two different things. I don't know, but then you just get the weird impression that it's the only thing you see, and they say it with such conviction. It's a bit like Darren Moore. I don't know what Darren Moore's saying to the players, but I genuinely feel like Darren Moore is saying the same things that he's saying in the media to the team, and it's like that's terrible.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It is hard to tell what's PR and what's the spin of things, because I think by clearly, whether it's Darren Moore or the players or both, the pressure of being Sheffield Wednesday in this league is sitting very uneasy on the shoulders of this group as it stands. So as an opposing manager, sort of the best thing you can do is talk up how big the club is and how much better, they really are, etc., because if that trickles through to the opposing dressing room, you're probably getting exactly the reaction you want, in that there's a group of players that feel, and maybe they're right, they're not fit to wear the shirt. There's a manager that seems to second guess his every decision to the point where he makes baffling ones unendingly. So yeah, put pressure on. Talk us up and put pressure on us. Because if you came in and said we were crap, then you might actually get a reaction out of the team. You might actually get a bit of fight out of us. But no, talk us up, say we're good, because we can't cope with trying to be the good team, the winning team. Speaking of teams, what did you make of this lineup as it trickled out? So Bailey Peacock-Farrell stays in goal, Hunt, Palmer, Dunkley, Johnson. And I was reading it as Shodipo was left wing back, at least that went that way in the second half. I think it was that way in the first half as well.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because I looked at that and it's difficult when you see the names given to you on a team sheet. And now we also have I think we talked about this before. Like I mentioned, like there was a period where Wednesday would just list the team lineup in squad numbers. And it's the Oslukai range, and you're like, I don't really know what to make of this.
No.
But now there seems to be a different kind of mentality. Like the media, I think, are kind of aware of this, or have gone through that kind of that mode, and then people have kicked off about it, and then so they're actually kind of listing it. But still, that's someone's impression of what's going on.
Surely it's the prerogative, though. The manager, you want, to an extent, you want to bring a trap on the opposition, don't you? Like, why would you give your formation away ahead of time?
I guess so, but it's not that. I don't think it's that difficult.
I don't think there's any onus on. I don't think there's any onus on the manager or the club to make clear what our formation is ahead of time. I think we just have to put the players on the team sheet, and then, as you say, it's an interpretation of whoever. Because you've got to have the element of surprise at your disposal as a manager, I think. And sometimes Darren surprises the players.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. But again, I don't know. But I don't know if formation is the thing that is really going to create any real kittens with the opposition.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it's more like an application of how we're going to have a style or any tactics we're going to do, or God, any set pieces, or, God forbid we ever do anything with a fucking set piece, which miraculously we did today. But then, yeah, we can get onto that. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, but it's not helping the conversation regarding more, because again, the quote, we've said this, other people said this numerous times: square pegs in round holes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I feel like the angle coming from Darren Moore is a bit like he's doing this because it's like, oh, I don't have the players to do what I want to do. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, but you signed it. You were kind of assembling those players. We're still in a position to say we don't have a recognized left back at Sheffield Wednesday. I don't know if Gibson was supposed to be that.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to think about a conventional 4-4-2. Or a conventional 4 at the back, at least, regardless of what you want to do for the rest of the pitch, which, sure, maybe you could just do a 4-3-3. But
that's the big choice that's being made, right? All season, really, he's been making this big choice in that we are not blessed with numbers at the back.
We're not blessed with numbers
constant
at the back,
injuries there. Gibson, Hutchinson, those two, between them, have been injured all season. And then add into that, Dunkley's been in and out with injuries. And now it seems Iorfa's picked up a knock as well. But the choice that is being made at the back is to play 3 centre-backs always. So if you don't have that many centre-backs, playing 3 of them...
Why are we maximising numbers in that sense? Exactly.
Today, you could have had 2 centre-backs. I think Liam Palmer would do a perfectly good job at centre-back. He has done previously. Che Dunkley is a centre-back by trade, but the decision is made to play 3, which forces you to then squeeze somebody in who's not a centre-back and not a defender by any chalk in Marvin Johnson. You've got to recognise left back, but he's only played at left back once all season. He's played several games, but Brown has only played left back for one game. I would argue he didn't do particularly well there, but still, again, you're making a choice that you've signed a left back, but you've decided you don't like playing him in his chosen position and the position he spent his career playing in. And again, pointing to Lewis Gibson, last season played 20 plus games for a team that did better than us at left back in a division higher. Mm-hmm. So there are I can accept the injuries are making things difficult, but you could accept, okay, that forces me into decisions. But once again, it's like everything is just so overthought. It's like you have the obvious thought, then you have the next one, then you kind of like surprise yourself with the third or fourth thought, and that's the one we keep going with.
But I think I think his mentality is we are weak in a simple framework.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that I agree with you is that he overthinks that, and then we do something weaker in a more complex framework.
Yeah.
Like if we just had a 4-4-2 today, like if we just went, I don't know, Hunt right back, Palmer and Dunkley in the middle, and Johnson left back.
Probably Johnson left back because that seems to be his preference.
Yeah.
But then, speaking of players, Patterson is able. He's a Swiss Army knife in that whatever the hole, he has the utility to slot in there, and he's played chunks of his career at centre back. He's played chunks of his career at right back. Maybe this would have been one of those opportunities to kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's tricky, but interestingly, we did see him as part of the defence by the end of today's game, but through force. But did a much better job at wing back than Shadipo did on the opposite side.
But then you've got a player in Hunt who's so conventional. Like that was the interesting thing. Was looking at, I don't know, like it. The thing that just frustrates me about this so much, Rich, is that we're trying to kind of guess what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should really be. I don't think that's something that we should do as fans, and I don't think that's something that you should lend to your support in a position where you're underperforming, to give us the position to say, well, what are we doing here? What are we trying to do here?
Yeah. I'd be amazed if there was another team in the top 10 in this division or any division who have played quite so many different formations and variants on their team. Like the fact that we're at this stage in this season now, and we still don't. Well, one, not only do I not know what our best team looks like. So are you showing me average positions or?
I bolstered up to my camera here to show Rich. Basically, this is what thought was going on. They thought it was a 3-4-1-2. Of which, who's that right in the middle of the? Can you tell me? Can you tell me for the rest of the court, Rich? Who is in the middle of that middle three at the back there?
Is that Jack Hunt?
Who is number 2? That is Jack Hunt. Yes, that is Jack Hunt.
Yeah,
like that is not what's going on. But like this is what we're kind of led to do.
So that seems to be. That's also what's on. That's what's on the SofaScore page as well. Is Hunt in the middle, Shadipo on the right wing back, and Johnson left wing back. It wasn't that. At no point was it that. I think you could argue that it was maybe a 4 in the first half, but I think more often than not it was a 5, because I think Johnson it's when you see the team like in repose, when we're not actively doing anything. That's when you see that's when players tend to stand where they've been told to stand, and I think without the ball stepping out from the back, Johnson was playing as a third centre back again rather than being a wing back figure or a left back. But yeah, it's frustrating to have so many variations and to still have every team sheet come out and go, okay, so who's doing what?
Who's doing what? Yeah. Like we never have a position with this to come out and for us to do a review and anyone to say in any analysis or thinking about what they've seen that game to say, you know what, this player was doing this unorthodox role, and you know what, he did a good job at it, and actually, it looks like they're playing to that player's strengths there.
Yeah,
like it's just nonsense. Like frankly, like it never works. Like it's not working at all. It doesn't work. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of Darren Moore. I'm tired of his shit. I'm tired of his patter. I wish he'd fuck off. Like I'm really fucking done with Darren Moore. This is very much me trying to be supportive as possible, trying to put myself always in a position of thinking that I need to be more positive. I need to give support. That's part of the nature of who I am as a supporter, I guess. I'm frustrated with sometimes how bad this is.
Yeah.
I will, whatever fiber of my being I can send from Calgary, Alberta to wherever Wednesday are playing in the world is to be there as support and to think, we can do this better. Come on, guys, we can do this a lot better. We can do a lot better here. That's part of the nature of being a fucking supporter.
Yeah.
But and I never gleefully, willfully take any great satisfaction from seeing another Wednesday manager just absolutely shit the bed. But I'm frankly, I'm done. The guy doesn't have a clue.
No, because the other tactic, if you're in a position where you are lacking at the back, is we've got lots of attacking threat. I've signed 7 wingers. We will just what our approach will be is you score 3, we'll score 4. What we will be is a devastating attacking force, and it'll be devil may care. We'll let in goals because we leave. We're going to leave ourselves open, but we will be a devastating threat to the opposition. We are clueless. I don't know what we're trying to do going forward.
No,
we pass it around the back and then get bored of it and just hoof it forward. Might as well just hoofed it forward in the first place.
Exactly. And there's still questions about that with our kind of approach from playing out from the back. I want to say, to be sympathetic, I think I've said this before, it looks the best when we're on the counter.
Yeah.
But then we seem to we sprint forward with pace and intention, or as much pace and intention as those said players have. Then we kind of slow down and we kind of run out of ideas and start thinking about things.
Yeah.
So we get to ponderous very quickly. It's not to ponderous.
Not to ponderous. Yeah. Well, I got frustrated sort of midway through the half, and I just wrote the note saying, is the plan to give it to Adeniran and FDB and just hope they magic something up? Because there doesn't seem to be anything else happening. It just felt like so many times today we passed it all the way across the back 4 to Hunt, and Hunt fizzed it into Deli Bashiru or Adeniran, and we all just stood back and watched them try and take on 3 men in the hope that something good would come out of it. It didn't ever work. We essentially put them under tons of pressure, didn't give them any balls to play, any options to play the ball out of the situation. They did drag men into situations with them, but there's nowhere for them to go. So what's the point? There was that, or just going long to Gregory. And guess what? Once again, he's up against 2 players who are 6'5", and they just nod it away because that's what they've done all their lives.
Yeah.
That being said, we did start well in this game. And it was a long ball to Gregory, and he had a chance. Sort of didn't get much of a challenge really. It wasn't a very particularly challenging shot, but he got a shot away close range to the keeper. But then it just momentum flipped by about 8 minutes. So the big response that Darren's got out of the team, spent a week on the training ground, lasted about 7 minutes or so. The motivated up and at 'em bit of the game was done, and we sunk back into the terrible at defending bit of the game. We look so clueless defending. It's so there's so little conviction about the way that we do things. If we head a ball that goes up in the air or goes out for a corner, we can't clear our lines. Nobody seems to know what their job is. It's a half-hearted sort of hodgepodge of picking up men, fouling men, whatever else. It just doesn't look like we've worked or tried anything defensively. But so 8 or 9 minutes, we were pretty lucky. There was a ball sort of bobbling around our box. It set up a situation where Vassell was sort of one-on-one with Bailey Peacock Farrell in the air, and he completely flapped at it and was very lucky that 1, Vassell hit the bar, and 2, a foul was given in his favour.
Yeah.
But that kind of set a tone. And they went through a period of 3 different set pieces in a row that we didn't clear our lines effectively from. So the first was a free kick into the box, which went out for a corner. The corner was cleared out for a throw-in, and then they hit a long throw-in that just bobbled around our box. 2 or 3 bad clearances, I think. Fell to Vassell. Vassell had basically 3/4 of the goal to hit because Bailey Peacock-Farrell was left completely helpless. And he's a good enough striker to hit the 3/4 of the goal that was made available to him, and we're 1-0 down after 14 minutes. I did make a note. Are we so bad at defending set pieces because Bannon takes them in training? Well done, lads. Just stand like statues and let it float over your head out of play. Perfect, lads. Well done. Another set piece well dealt with. Well done, lads. Stand still and let it just go straight into Bailey Peacock-Farrell's hands. Yeah, good job. Good job. We're great at set pieces. At one point, we let Hunt take a corner. I don't know what was going on there. It was awful.
Mm. I know it's on the 22nd mark, 22-minute mark. One of the best attacking moments for Wednesday. We managed to cycle it out through the middle from Dunkley. I think it might have been Adeniran. I didn't like Adeniran's new haircut of the bald. No,
it's very severe. He's completely bald now, isn't he? And
doesn't look.
I don't think he had that much hair before, but it makes a big difference.
Makes a big difference. Yeah, he looks a bit more like Akinfenwa now.
He looks chunkier
somehow. I know, and he seemed like a bit of a strong lad, but like slight,
Yeah.
And not like a physical frame, but it made him look slower.
I agree. All these things, I agree.
Anyway, we cycle out for the middle, start from Dunkley, went all the way out to Shodipo. Shodipo brings it on the inside, beams it out for a throw-in.
Yeah. I just, at this point, I don't know what Moore is seeing with Shodipo, that he keeps getting all these opportunities.
Yeah.
If a winger gets to start, he's the one that gets to start. If a winger gets on from the bench, he's the guy that gets brought on from the bench. We've seen nothing. One disallowed goal in whatever was his first appearance, I think, for the club, first league appearance. That's the only thing he's done, and that didn't even count because he was offside.
Do you want to hear something funny as well? You probably had the Cheltenham commentary, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did. So we had Andy Giddings and Brian Laws early on, basically after my kind of note about I was going to say actually about the lineup. I said one thing I think I didn't make a point. I said, finally, we fear what most happens, even though maybe it's not so big right now, is that we're missing Iorfa.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that kind of came from the...
Yeah, we didn't even mention that, did we? We were so busy.
We didn't. I know. So Iorfa obviously took a knock. We learnt. I said, already I'm irritated by Giddings and the absolutely awful announcer they had at Jonny-Rocks Stadium. Just terrible. Anyway, Giddings continues my irritation by saying he thought that Shodipo had a good impact last week. I said it's going to be a long afternoon.
What was he watching?
I don't know. He's a fucking idiot. He's such a bad commentator. He's awful. The
only thing he did was fall over when we were in a really, really good position.
The only thing I will say from Nostragidmus, Cheltenham have conceded 7 from corners, but are good at scoring corners. That's what he said very early on in this game. Before that must be about the early few minutes of this game. Anyway, I can probably go on and say a lot of terrible things about Andy Giddings. I'm sure I will going through this.
Well, interestingly, so one of the things they did say in the Cheltenham commentary, so they mentioned that they have been poor from corners, and they were worried every time we had a corner until about the 4th or 5th one, when they were like, okay.
We had 3 corners in the first 5 minutes, Rich.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We had 11. We had 11 corners overall, or something ridiculous.
I think we scored with the 12th.
Scored with the 12th, yeah, fucking hell.
And I think we had 1 or 2 after that as well. But so yes, he said that was the weakness. But he also said there's a bit of like the commentator said, there's a bit of camaraderie between the commentators. And speaking to the BBC Radio Sheffield lot, they did say that Sheffield Wednesday are a bit weak from set pieces. So Giddings is telling tales, little tattling on us, giving away our secrets that we're bad at set pieces.
What a little bleeder. 33-minute mark. That's something I texted you, and I wrote it down here as well. I texted you. I want more gone.
Yeah, you did.
I said this is just awful. This is. I find it interesting. Like I always find the narrative. I find it really fun when we can argue about what's the best performance for Sheffield Wednesday this season. I'm going to put all my chips on this is the worst performance this season. This is overall. This is. I mean, mainly the first half, I will say, but like it, isn't it the weird thing? Like we go through the first half I'll maybe foreshadow this and just kind of just jump ahead a little bit here for the second half.
Yeah. Go for it.
Like, there's far more energy in a very disjointed, panicked attacking Sheffield Wednesday side. It's so disjointed, but it's more exciting than the ponderous, lackadaisical bullshit we get from Sheffield Wednesday when we just come out and just think, oh, we'll just kick it around until they score, basically. Yeah. And then we'll start trying to pull a finger out of the situation.
It was hard to shake the thought today that they are rubbish. They are, I feel, comfortably the worst team we've played. And I will not be surprised at all if they are in one of the relegation spots at the end of the season. They just looked very poor. But as we touched on, unfortunately for us, we are so shoddy at the back that when they got forward, when they attacked, they gave us kittens. And every set piece, particularly the long throws. There was a long throw that bounced 3 times in our box. It's unbelievable how poor we are at defending. And it's all, once again, we're back to this. This is basic first couple of lessons of, how do you be a defender? 101. We're failing at all these things and getting punished for it because they're the basics. They're the foundations of defending for a good reason. If you don't do them, you get punished at every level. Maybe less so at this level than higher levels. But it's baffling when you've got a defender as your manager as well. Like, the thing he should be good at is coaching a defensive line. He was a good captain. He was a good defender. This should be his bread and butter. Teaching them how to stand in a line, step up at the right time, head it out from the back, clear it into the stands. All these things should be his. That should be his mainstay of his coaching. About 40-minute mark, we had one more sight of goal. It wasn't very good, but it was a Patterson. It was a Bannon free kick. Gregory won the free kick fairly well. Bannon flung it over to the far post. All of his ones were going to the back post today. Eventually, we moved the team to the back post to try and be more effective there. And this was maybe the start of it because it landed at Patterson's feet. And I think he'll be kicking himself because it was a really good opportunity, but he put it over the bar. But that was really our first sight of goal since the first 5 minutes of the match.
The referee blew for something anyway, right?
Yeah.
I made a comment a few minutes before that one, Rich. I said there's no worth in giving any analysis around this Wednesday side. It's akin to try and think critically about a group of lads who've got together for a kickabout. Still, we look like a random, isolated collection of professionals with zero confidence. This is like a FIFA simulation of bad.
Yeah. Because I don't have anything until half time, and it was just an abysmal half coming to a close. Once again, the reaction that more elicits from the team lasts less than 10 minutes and results in just one effort on goal.
I was wishing at half time I was at Pepe's Cheltenham, I'll be honest.
And the big discussion at half time really was about the eBay advert again.
Yes.
So your feelings really are in place of the elevate jiggly bottom lady.
Who I messaged Paddy Jones about, actually, saying that I missed her.
You're trying to muster up some feelings for the kind of badger-haired lady that gives some advice to our protagonist in the eBay advert.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know whether I quite share your affection.
I'm just so willfully negatively bored that I'm doing such things, that I'm harshly objectifying some nice young lady who's probably a very fine actress.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what's the name of the character. She's got like a really, really horrid kind of chavvy name for a character as well, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Bless her.
But that's the main talking points at halftime, really.
That's the main talking point. Rubbish. I said rubbish at halftime. I said, we've had 9 corners. 9 corners by halftime.
And that's their weakness.
Fuck, we can't do anything with it.
I don't know.
Why are we, like, if we got something in Bannon's contract where he has to take corners, Is everybody else so abjectly poor at corners that Bannon is like head and shoulders above everyone else?
Do you want my third Bannon hot take?
Go on, Rich.
I think he's done. I think he's dwindling.
That's fair. Yeah.
But he's still comfortably our best player. And our fortunes are so tied to the mast of the SS Bannon.
Very much so, yeah.
And we are seeing less and less from that, the good ship.
Is this one more year we have him, or have we got another year after this?
He signed a 2-year extension. Fuck. But there was a couple of moments today where the ball, he's sitting deeper, isn't he? And there was a couple of moments today where the ball broke to him from the pack in their box, and he just didn't react in the way normally Bannon would like seize that moment, he'd make something happen, and he gave the ball away. I think it happened 3 times, and he gave the ball away in 2 of them, and didn't really do anything with the third one either. But that being said, we're going to go into the second half. The reason we scored goals was Barry Bannon today, but it's a really tricky spot to be in because we're so reliant on him. But I do feel like we're starting to see we're on the downward trend, and it can be quite quick once you start that downward journey.
Well, this is the fans anti-Bannon kind of mentality, right? It's basically like we're such an over-reliance on Bannon that when it doesn't work, it's really bad, and we don't look to ever have an option B. We don't entertain option B, whatever option B is. Yeah,
I don't know. It's tricky.
I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, from the breaking, for the sake of the whole midfield was bad today.
Yeah.
Like, we had the weird thing with Adeniran that we said from a stylistic perspective, he looks chunky and overweight thanks to his baldness, but he didn't look at the races today. No. FDB's languidness just was a bit more on the leggy side of things. I'm going to be honest.
I don't know whether they marked him out the game, but he just couldn't get it going today, I don't think. I mean, that midfield was a kind of roll of the dice. I think it's exciting at home, and I think maybe we can cope with it at home. I was very surprised to see it again away from home, and I don't know. It's just one of these things. Like, it didn't really work last time, but so why is this the thing that stays? The things that everything changes regardless of how well or badly it works, and then certain things hang around. Like, so this midfield 3 has now had two and a half games.
Yeah,
it sort of looked dangerous for about half a game of that. I don't think Adeniran and FDB complement each other. They're both trying to do the same thing. They're both trying to pick it up in that kind of the hole and drive forward a bit. We don't need 2 players to try and do that. And meanwhile, and as I know he's a bit of a focus for the Boo Boys at the moment, but Lewis Wing, who slogged his guts out over several games, one was part of the winning midfield when Bannon didn't play, etc., etc. It seems to have been dropped and now can't work his way back in. It's just very odd. It's back to the Gary Monk thing. It's so hard to see. I know the training ground is the element we don't see, what's happening there, etc. But surely what happens on the training ground doesn't matter one jot if you can't do it on a Saturday in the game. So that's the most important bit. I mean, it might be more of the 80% of the time is spent on the training ground and 20% of the time is playing the game. But in terms of importance, it's the other way around. Because if you could score all your penalties on the training ground, but you miss everyone you take in a match, it doesn't matter. I don't care how you do it in penalties on the training ground. Oh, anyway, we made a change at halftime. Canberry came on for Jack Hunt.
Yeah, my words are, fans, we need a lift. More. Hold my beer as he brings on Canberry for Hunt. Why Hunt? I thought Hunt was one of our... He had a bit of a bad spell for Wednesday this season. In terms of like performers, though, he feels like one of our most consistent performers.
Yeah.
And Hunt is such a good player that we can play him at right back and he'll do everything. He'll get up and down that wing like nobody's fucking business.
Yeah.
Like, it's like playing with 2 players with Jack Hunt on the pitch.
Yeah.
Which may seem like a really huge, weighty thing to say, but then we've brought on a player who seems like it would be not worth having a player on the pitch at all. The thing I want to say later on from actually how this worked out, I said, this was probably about the 50-odd minute mark. I said, has anybody seen Canberra this half? Did we just bring on an absence of space in place of Hunt? A sack of fertilizer in a Wednesday shirt would have been better than Canberra. He is fucking dog shit.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get what he brings to anything. He is useless. A really, really poor signing. Yeah. Not what we needed at all.
But again, gets on the pitch.
What's a level of fucking desperation? Really? Yeah. After that substitution, Giddings and Laws mentioned went to a 3 at the back. I was like, but I thought we already were a 3 at the back.
I thought we already were a 3 at the back as well.
While you're doing some looking up some stuff there, Rich, I can carry on my notes. I'm just trying to see
if therethere's anything about Hunt being injured, but it doesn't seem to be. So it was
a bizarre shit tactical substitution.
Yeah.
47th minute, Shadipo is bad.
Yep.
He gets it. He gets on the thing. He absolutely wangs it across the goal mouth. Neither a cross nor a shot.
He's doing that thing of taking the ridiculous option so that he's like hedging. Because he's got so little confidence at the moment, he's like doing the stupid. You shoot weirdly. It can go both ways, can't it? Confidence. You can go hiding, which is obviously the worst. It's much better to try things that won't work, but you shoot from 30 yards rather than push on and give yourself an actual opportunity of scoring. And in Shadipo's case, he's doing everything with his left foot, despite the fact he's clearly got zero ability with his left foot. Because it's almost like, well, I was on my left foot, wasn't I? And these are opportunities where he could push on, he could cut in on his right, he could do other things, and actually ask a question of the opposition, give himself an opportunity to score. He's just not doing it. I just, how on earth can he be the best option, particularly at left wing back? Because he doesn't do any defending.
Can I talk about some of the few moments that actually cheered me up in a really bad game of football? So I don't know if I made a note about this. Oh, so all the corners we had in the first half, I said, it's actually like the first 5 minutes, so I'll just rewind a little bit here. So nothing happens from that corner we had, but I really enjoyed the Cheltenham fans taking the piss out of Bannon, raising his arms. Did you see that?
No, but
Bannon does his like double heart, so they started behind him doing this as well. And then like one of them, he put his arm up. What is that system? I think I figured it out, Rich. Okay, both hands up mean I'm really going to be underwhelming, and one hand up is like, I'm not very confident I'm going to be underwhelming, but I'm going to try. So it was like funny when he did the one hand up, like one of the Cheltenham fans behind the net was like putting their arm up to be like, "Hey, Barry." So the other moment of comedy was Pollock falling over. That was incredibly entertaining, which I laughed at.
That was very funny.
And then the conversation was back at me because then Shadipo fell over afterwards as well.
Yes. And he didn't have the excuse of being off the pitch where it was probably a strange surface. He was just on the pitch and fell over.
Yeah. And let's bring the Shadipo show to an end. When in the 54th minute, Corbinov's coming on. I said, Corbinov's coming on, exclamation mark, hopefully for Shadipo. Yes! I have never celebrated a substitution more, to be honest with you.
Replaced by the Francophone flyer, Corbinov. Oh, dear. I did a bit of foreshadowing that came back to bite me, but in a good way. So I was just right. 11 corners for Wednesday, a supposed weakness for Cheltenham, and we haven't had one good one. And then my next note, 65 minutes. Corner number 12 is the charm. Dunkley battles at the far post and squeezes the ball between the keeper and the post. And I think this smacks of a sub that was planned before we scored the equaliser, but Berahino then came on for Deli Bashiru.
God, what a useless substitution again. Bringing on Berahino, I completely missed that. Anyway, we're getting on. So we probably talk about the game and the fabric, right? So
yeah.
60th minute, I said Bannon tried to kill one of the keeper that is blocked.
Yeah,
that was probably one of our brighter moments. Following that, we got a drop ball free kick.
It hit the ref. Adeniran tapped it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said this is ugly.
I won't argue with that.
65th minute, and the umpteenth corner, which Richard Song is 12th, somehow gives us an equaliser.
Yeah.
Long corner to the back stick. Dunkley nods down and it creeps into the corner below the floundering Flinders. Just bizarre.
Flinders seems to have been around forever. 35 years old. A wreck, an old relic of a human being. Barely held together. Duct tape and hope. That's all that's left.
Spit and gristle. So that was Dunkley. Is that Dunkley's first senior goal for Sheffield Wednesday?
I think it is.
Good stuff. Well done, Shea Dunkley.
Yeah.
And then I need to give a bit more plaudits on the 68th minute following that.
Last season's top scorer.
Dunkley does an amazing block from a really worrying angle.
Yeah.
That was really good. And then I think I was
2-on-1 and he just ran at the ball like a Pro Evo or FIFA player. Left the other guy completely clear. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I think that was the point. I think I realised that we brought on Berahino for FDB again.
Yeah. So it happened straight after the goal, which I think sometimes you've handed the paper in, you can't take it back. Because I think we probably made that sub at 1-1, but we ended up making it a 1-1.
Right. So question for you, Rich, just to going back to Florian, everyone's favourite Floridian. If we bring on Canberra and we don't announce it, would anyone notice?
I don't think so. Well, he had a volley that went wide, I think. I think it was him that touched it. Yeah.
It's got this, like, the last stint of this got a really, like, you know, opening up in the desperation, everyone going for it. Prime's like a frantic degree of excitement that we've mentioned. But I said this was such a messy game.
Yeah.
It was an awful, awful game of football.
I was really
I must
cool.
say.
Yeah.
79th minute, Pato does a long throw in, which somehow nearly goes in for an own goal.
And did we do the long throw in ever again? No. But it caused them absolute kittens the one time we did it.
Never have I wanted to kick Andy Nostragidmus in the balls anymore. When he mentions we're coming to the last 10 minutes and goes, dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
fucking hate you, Giddings. You're the worst commentator. apart from they did round the grounds and they went to some guy who sounds like a Cockney who was really bad in his summary. He was really awful. I'm like, I thought we couldn't scrape the barrel anymore at Radio Sheffield.
Maybe Giddings has got to the seniority where he's in charge of hiring. He's just picking people to make him look good.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah.
Corbino had an effort around that time, where he cut inside and had a shot. It wasn't a great shot, but it was a little bright moment, an effort on target, which we don't have many of. Felt slightly noteworthy. 82nd
minutes. That's when we got our second goal of the game.
Yeah, Dunkley absolutely taken out whilst winning a header. Bannon's delivery is spot on. Really, it was dangerous. It was one of those that probably would have gone in on its own if nobody touched it. It was flicked on and then turned in by Matty Blair, the
son of former Wednesdayite Andy Blair. Yes.
Yeah. So we scored. We didn't. we had two shots on target. We just told you about one of them being Corbino's, and we scored. Despite not registering another shot on target. Nerves. We should have. This is now we're in a position we've not done this. We've talked about it's years now since we came from behind to win a game of football, and we're suddenly in that position. We also got a chance to make things comfortable pretty soon after that. Berahino broke, the ball sort of fell to him very favourably on the halfway line. He was breaking forward, supported by Adeniran and Corbino. Absolutely the three players you'd probably want to pick to be in that situation. Unfortunately, he held on to it for too long, passed it behind Adeniran. It all just sort of fell apart. Adeniran got it caught between his feet, and Corbino took over and improvised an overhead kick, which is tame, yes, and about 6 feet wide.
Yeah.
Is that my little improv joke there, Luke?
Thanks, Rick. I wondered on the 88th minute going into this. I felt so kind of resigned and taken from such a mad game, which we didn't deserve to lead. We didn't deserve to score. and somehow we were 2-1 up at that point. And I said, how did we not concede in the 88th minute?
Yeah.
And fed in an angle drive to Norton, and on the angle almost nestles it into the corner, but just goes wide.
It's one of those where it looked like it might go in on its own, but in the end it needed a touch and nobody got the touch. But yeah, it was, I don't know how it didn't go in. But it doesn't matter because we'll give them another chance. We always give you another chance. Good old Sheffield Wednesday. Good lads. 90 minutes, Matty Blair makes up for his own goal with one against Wednesday. Another shambles defensively, and there were 4 or 5 Cheltenham Town players that could have nodded it in at the near post. He was very emotional because he lost his brother a year ago, who was a big Wednesdayite. Right. So he was in tears apparently.
Okay.
So is this another point from behind or another point pair lost from a winning position?
A real Schrodinger's point, I guess. I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know what it is. It's just such a mess, really. The goals are kind of immaterial, you know?
Yeah.
Like all of it just
That's why Americans don't like football.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the point of 90 minutes?
Yeah, it feels like the apathy of nothing. It feels like we both got no points, no points all around.
Nihilistic apathy.
Yeah.
The new album by Manic Street Preachers.
That's the one. They found some more. They found some more lyrics from Richie Edwards. I'm going to do another Holy Bible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed at the end as Lord said it looked like Corbino had never taken a free kick before in his life.
I just can't. There's no player on our team that I would be excited to see take that free kick.
Well, I'm so Bannon, like, because he said, "Oh, he's out the conversation." It was Johnson and Corbino stepping over. It looks like Bannon.
I don't know what was going on because he had a bad. He drew the foul, didn't he? And he was just making such a fuss about his foot. I almost think like maybe he'd been told he wasn't allowed to take it and was kind of like shielding himself, pretending to be injured so that he didn't have the embarrassment of being taken off, taking the free kick. I don't know what happened.
But his free kicks are the best of his set. I'm happy with him taking free kicks. It's just corners I don't know what to see him take.
But Corbino hits it straight into the wall and then absolutely banged his volley out of the crowd.
Out the stadium, yeah.
Which is not that hard because it's only like 10 feet tall all around.
Did you enjoy when they kicked it over the home end in the first half and then someone was trying to throw it from behind? I'm like, who's behind there throwing the ball? Is there some like tall Cheltenham freak? Like he just lives behind the stadium. He was just like employed to gather the ball.
Tall Cheltenham freak.
Feed him the scraps from Pepe's Cheltenham.
He's actually a county-wide freak, and he does the same job for Forest Green.
Good.
He's a different ground each weekend.
Ferry him there on an overnight train so people don't see him. Strapped to some nuclear waste.
Oh dear! Yeah,
what an awful football team. Both of them.
Yeah,
both are just poor shit teams. For really poor. This isn't even third tier quality football. This is barely worthy of the EFL moniker. I'm going to be honest.
At one point they made a very Freudian slip, and they said, so they were talking about Sheffield Wednesday and saying that's the thing, you've got to play you've got to play the players in the shirt, not the badge on the shirt. And at this point in time, Sheffield Wednesday looked very much a mid-table League Two team, which is what they are. And then they corrected themselves, but I think they were right the first time.
I think they were right the first time. Yeah, you know the sheer
manager.
The sheer disappointment of all of this is the nature of just how bad you can be. You can be really, really terrible and be supported within the weird comforting blanket of a different league.
Yeah.
Frankly, there are teams who are outperforming themselves. There are teams who are underperforming and somehow staying where they are. And the real disappointment thing was that it felt like a step up from everything that was wrong with this football club when we got relegated last year. And the mentality of thinking that we might start to see a bit of an upturn.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like we found where the bottom is with Sheffield Wednesday.
No. not with this. I do still maintain that these players are better than the way they're playing. A good manager could get a tune out of this group of players. I don't think they're world beaters, but I do think they should be doing better than they are. And it feels like we've been begging for this for so long now, but just to know what the plan is, have a style and a system and something that we're working on, we're building on. I keep hearing about working. Oh, we're learning, we're growing, we're gelling. I don't see any of that. Worse and worse every week, and it's a different sort of bad every week. It's an anthology series that every episode is crap. No, it's great because next week it's a completely different story in the same stadium. Yeah, but it's still rubbish. Inside,
saying it's the worst Ken Burns.
What's that? Sorry, the
worst Ken Burns documentary series ever.
Yeah, the Twi-shite Zone.
The Twi-shite Zone.
So that's 4 draws in a row. 9th, but very much mid-table. We're 11 points from first, 11 points from second bottom, 5 points from the playoffs, 7 points from the relegation zone. We're right in the middle of the heap, regardless of what the position in the table looks like. We are, we're very much middling. We're dawdling around that the paunch, as we've talked about previously.
A goal difference of 2.
Which again is, as middling as you can get, really.
17 goals scored, which is currently probably about the 7th lowest in the league, I think it is.
It's pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah, and yet still miraculously, we've conceded 15 goals, which is, probably about like the 4th. That's like the 4th best defensive record in this league.
Which is wild because it feels like all of our problems are defensive.
I know.
Isn't it strange? Oh, so we should do the go through the motions, end of match motions. Any honourable mentions?
Honourable mention. Dunkley?
Yeah.
Nice to see him score. I'm happy he scored a goal. That's what we thought he would do more of at this football club.
It seems weird to say in a game where we
shot 2 goals,
lost 2-0 and lost 2 to set pieces, but he's continued his good run of form. He's been in his best run of form in a Wednesday shirt these last couple of games. For some unknown reason dropped after. And Dunkley did. I suppose we could have covered that in the news, but Dunkley did come out and say, "I'm perfectly fit. There's nothing wrong with me." After last week's game, where he was dropped after his 2 best games in a row, he was dropped by Darren Moore. He's back in the fold now, presumably because of Iorfa's injury. Because why would he get in on the good form he's showing? That's not how you pick teams. Continued, followed it up with probably a man of the match performance today. He looked a colossus, I thought. By and large, I thought he in a poor defence, covered himself in glory and got his goal. Villain?
Bannon.
I think maybe Darren Moore today. I know he wasn't one of the players, but...
Fair enough.
I don't know. Shadipo was pretty terrible as well. Shadipo, Canberry did nothing. But I suppose that's the thing. Is it worse to do nothing or to do lots but do it really, really badly?
Well,
we had 15 corners and Bannon took 14 of them.
Yeah, this is the Pelopessi paradigm, isn't it?
The Pelopessi paradigm. Taylor's oldest time, the Pelopessi paradigm. That rhymes. Start of a song. Okay, yeah. Sunderland up next. The rearranged game from the international break.
Oh, I can't wait.
And they have been absolutely smashed this weekend, so we will get the reaction to that presumably. Or maybe they're on a downward trend and we'll beat them 5-1 as well. Who knows? McGeady got sent off, so we probably won't have him against us.
Is he still kind of like? I find it weird. Is he regarded as one of our best players?
I think in the same way that we regarded him as like, well, he can be good. I think he's the same for them, really. Like when he's plays well, it's good, but most of the time he's like he was for most of the time and does nothing.
He's 35.
35. And then we've got a couple of cup games after that.
Yeah, well, we got the first.
FA Cup with Plymouth, and then the third league game in the Slice of the Action trophy. Wednesday take on Harrogate in the Slice of the Action Cup.
Which probably means we're like top of that league, right? Aren't we? Or something?
Yeah, I think we can't. I think we're. It's just
guaranteed more.
Yeah,
guaranteed more slices.
Ooh,
we're back
Lock
for seconds.
Doors. We're coming for a slice of the action. I don't know why you have to lock up your door. Just sensible. Keep her out of trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep her off that Papa John's.
Yeah, he's a racist.
But you can open up the hole in the locked thing, and you can give her that pepperoncini through the thing.
You can.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Right. Not that weird, creepy notes. I can't think of any better note to end things on. I'm going to say cheerio to you, Luke, and wish you the best for the week. Same for the folks at home. Cheerio, bye.